You know, I woke up today, I looked at the calendar on the wall. I touched the date, I felt the day. I closed my eyes and I knew it was a Thursday. I don't know why, but every Thursday it feels different. I get all tingly with excitement, the anticipation.
Santosh was thinking as he was having his morning coffee. He was all by himself. Maybe people let him be. Something was off. Something was surreal. Thursdays made Santosh feel very real. Cause that day his friend shared it. A few weeks passed. It was the new episode of the ThyGap podcast. His memory was vague, his mind was restless, as he thought.
What if I unleashed myself? What if I creased myself? Ironed out all the kinks, get the dust off my top shelf. The smaller my cave gets, the bigger my imagination bets on all the potential I fear. But am I the only one who's afraid? Or is someone else here? Why do I feel this way on a Thursday?
Santosh will find out soon enough. Follow, subscribe, and share. And spread the word about ThyGap Thursdays. Such a crybaby, dude. Justin Langer. I think we should do one dedicated to Justin Langer.
Oh yeah, it's like when the match goes well, it's just come in and let's not talk about the match. You guys did fantastic. Let's just disperse. Let's just get the fuck out of here. When something goes wrong, it's like PowerPoint presentation, 3 hours. Sit inside. Nathan Lyon, watch this run out. Watch this run out. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. They used to describe New Zealand in this way, but how the turntables. Hello. Welcome back to yet another episode of the ThyGap podcast. This is Bogus Noog, and with me, as always, is...
Being Brute here. Welcome, everybody.
Brute, let's get right into it. We're fresh coming off of the World Trade Center's test finals between New Zealand and India. And
yes.
Have you heard that saying before? Like, always the bridesmaid, never the bride? Because Kiwis were never... They always came so close, but they were always so far.
Yeah, they are like the upgraded version of the 90s South Africa.
Yeah.
Where, South Africans were chokers, but New Zealanders were not kind of chokers.
Right.
Like somehow the choker tag never came to New Zealand.
They were just too nice.
Yeah, they were too nice. People were like, nah, too much of negative connotation if we call them chokers and all. And they always lost like ridiculously close. It was not like they've crumbled under pressure or anything. It was always like the whole World Cup finals was an example.
Oh, that was an example of where they did not lose, but they were forced to.
They were forced to. They're like, you're used to it, so take it.
Yeah, just take it.
Yeah, just take it because you know
Understand
how what's the drill.
Yeah,
you know how the drill goes. Like you come close and then you lose.
Yeah, I mean we understand you've had so many close shaves, but we invented the game and we don't have one yet.
You need to give it to us.
You need to give it to us next time.
Next time, come on.
Yeah,
like you had your chances.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, New Zealanders are... I've heard the phrase, by the way.
Yeah.
I've also heard the phrase where the true gentleman game played by... The team that played the game in the true spirit has always been New Zealand.
Yes.
And the great statement by Virat Kohli, where I don't think any team has bad members in it or, bad players.
Really?
Yeah, have you not heard that? Like some idiot asked Virat Kohli, so New Zealand doesn't have like bad players or like angry players or whatever.
Oh, that way.
Yeah, and Virat Kohli was like, I don't think any team has it. And he's like, And the reporter was like, no further questions, Your Honor.
Yeah.
So, but WTC, man, two towering teams
Yeah.
slandered by unbelievable weather of England to a point that the Englishmen only said, like, stop putting important matches in England.
Right.
You're ruining the game. Don't do it.
Yeah. And like I was saying, that stat that the Kiwis were famous for, I'm now seeing a meme where we have racked up as many close shaves in the recent past, and we have not had a major like tournament trophy in a while. And we've always been there and thereabouts.
Yeah, I think since Dhoni.
Since Dhoni.
Yeah.
Which says a lot. Or does it?
It's not much. I actually don't think too much about it. I think if you'll go back, go back in majority of the finals. Like I think about the 40% of the finals, if not 50. It's not even Steven.
Mm-hmm.
There was some kind of external force or external element which kind of ruined the flow of the game. The semi-final we lost in World Cup, right, with New Zealand, was the same problem. Half of the game was played on one day, and then rain came in, and the other half was played on completely another day. And I just can't understand. If it was a group stage match, I still get it, that you continue the game. But if it is like a semi-finals, how can you give two different conditions for the same match?
Also in England, by the way. Right?
Also in England. So England is the victim here. Michael Vaughan should shut up. And morely, he should complain about the weather and his own country's climatic conditions rather than, oh, India is such a bad team. I think he should shut up. Like, England is not doing any good.
And I think in a few weeks, we have that spectacle to look forward to as well, which is India plays England in the Test series.
In England?
In England, yeah. It's coming up in like around 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks.
I don't know if it will be a very tough competition.
It won't.
I mean, it won't have the kind of spice that it had before. Now you can still kind of sense that,
But hasn't that
England
been in our bucket list for a while now?
We won a Test series with England, right?
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah, we won. I think in Dravid's captaincy.
Oh, so it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
But when was the last time England won one in India?
Yeah, true.
It's been a long while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's even like it doesn't have that firepower of a series that I want to see.
Which is why I said look forward to, because we kind of already know the result, so it's going to be fun.
It's just like did this happen? Yeah, this happened. Yeah, I saw it coming. Yeah. It's like that. The only thing that I want to look forward for is that Virat Kohli's 72nd century or 71st century. 71st. I think that is my problem. I want Virat Kohli to get back to his century-making ways.
How many matches is it going to be?
I have no idea. I literally have zero idea.
Can you imagine if even at the end of those matches, he still was not able to make it?
It would be really disappointing.
Yeah.
For a guy like Virat Kohli, I would be genuinely disappointed. Then I would probably actually say that, okay, fine, you know what? Kind of take it easy with captaincy. Like probably, I want you to score runs more than be a good captain. Because I think the team is mature enough to kind of go with the flow. Like Ajinkya Rahane won. He's a decent captain for Test.
Yeah.
You have Rohit Sharma, who's like a decent captain again.
Has shown some experience with finishing
As
a captain.
As a captain.
Taking his team through.
Right. And we have to see, I don't know if Shikhar Dhawan is also in the race for captaincy, but we have to see how he'll captain in the Sri Lankan series. So I think I want Virat Kohli the batsman more than the Virat Kohli the captain.
And that sentiment seems to be shared by like a lot of people. Like the same sentiment is coming from a lot of quarters. Maybe captaincy wise, it's been a long time that people have been going on, pointing out those instances where his team selection is one huge question mark where people always tend to question him. And then the other thing is the actual choices during a match.
So there are two things. The team selection, I understand the reason why he selects certain teams. Like for WTC final, okay, I would have personally wanted a Siraj in place of either Ashwin or Jadeja. I would have probably replaced Jadeja, considering or Ashwin rather. Sorry, considering that Jadeja can get me that one extra wicket through fielding randomly, so I would always put that money on it. Whatever runs that Ashwin would score, I would anticipate that Jadeja would score, right? And also, even on English conditions, if say what Ashwin ended up with, like 4 wickets, I'm pretty sure Siraj would have taken those 4 wickets. So in my math, that Siraj would always made like a better sense of selection because he's been very good on seaming pitches and overseas conditions. So obviously, and he's full of pace, very energetic. He's a very good fielder, relatively good fielder. So overall, I would have taken Siraj. I put my money on Siraj. The other thing with Virat's captaincy per se, he has been a phenomenal test captain. No doubts about that. I think after what Dhoni has showed overseas, I think Virat Kohli brought back that Gangulian era kind of back with that aggression in the foreign conditions.
Going for the bowlers.
Supporting the fast bowlers. So all that is great in Virat Kohli as a test captain. So I don't mind his test captaincy. One days, with the current way we are playing as a country and the kind of talent pool that we have, I think any team would go and put up a decent performance, right? So I don't know how much of guiding you need for the one-day team.
Okay.
That's my point, right? So therefore, I would have, if Virat Kohli is really, and I want Virat Kohli to make runs. I want him to score runs, like big runs that he normally does.
Right.
And if I feel, because I feel, or like you said, the public sentiment is, maybe the captaincy thing is like coming in the middle for him. Maybe that's too much of pressure, blah, blah, blah. Maybe he's having to sit with Ravi Shastri late in the night, you know. His team meetings are Ravi Shastri drinking in the night and making Virat Kohli sit and giving the Gyan session like, Virat, tu banega bhai. Tu na bahut bada captain banega. Tu tension mat le, main hu na. Tu bas pek bana. And maybe that is stealing away sleep. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, but coming to the result though, it was not a surprising thing, but it was a weirdly pleasant thing, which is there is disappointment that, you know, your team did not make it through, but then these guys, they had to get it. They just had to get it. One ICC tournament.
Yeah, you're disappointed that they got it with India, right? I mean, that's the disappointment in me. Like, oh, out of all the teams, why India? That too twice, right? The other thing is, you don't, with the thing with New Zealand is, you don't mind them winning even if they're the opposition.
Yeah.
They're just so well behaved, or they conduct themselves so well. And there is no on your face kind of a defeat with New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
They're very accommodating with your loss also. Even if they are the winning team, they accommodate you. They have their own way of like making you feel good. And that's the beauty about them. But having said that, how the ICC approached or dealt with the WTC final, which is an inaugural final, I think it was gross mishandling. I didn't like the way they have conducted. About like 1/3 of the match is washed out, and players are constantly sitting in the dressing room and they're like, okay, when do I go out? When do I go out?
Yeah.
You have a reserve day, great, but you know, you have only one test match, so you rather treat it extremely fairly, right?
Yeah.
So that is my, what do you say, my problem with how the WTC was played.
But it looked like a big part of the contributing factor behind that mismanagement and all that was the pandemic for the most part. I mean, they pretty much came out clear and said, even if situations were normal, having a 3-match series is not possible because you have to block teams' calendars so much in advance. So it's just not feasible. So the way they came out upfront and said that, it was kind of uncharacteristic, at least from my experience, of either ICC or ECB or anyone from that part of the sphere, where they always try to dance around words and dance around their decisions. But this one, they were pretty clear in coming out immediately and saying, hey, it's not something that's practical. So for me, it felt like it's probably the pandemic that caused a lot of this.
I don't think so.
Well,
I mean, it's a convenient reason to blame upon.
I mean, yeah, it is a convenient reason.
But if I look at it, 3 test matches is like a month.
Yeah.
Right? And you're doing this once in every 2 years. right?
Yeah.
With only 2 teams. It's not like you're blocking every other international team.
But you don't know who the finalists are going to be, right? Until you come to the finals.
So that's the individual board's call, right? Like, I mean, I'm sure halfway through you kind of have an idea that, okay, these are the 3 or 4 teams that might become finalist.
Yeah, I mean, that's a guess. Yeah, there's bound to be like either England, New Zealand, or
We don't know. I mean,
not
like,
Australia. 3-4 teams.
yeah, there are 3-4 teams, right,
Yeah.
at max.
Yeah.
You don't expect a Bangladesh to come, or you don't expect with this kind of hierarchy or this kind of potential of team. You don't expect a West Indies to come. It's very rare that
current form. Yeah,
they might win one odd series here and there, but across 2 years performing consistently, that capability is there only with few teams. So you already know it's like Federer and Nadal in their prime. It's almost like they're playing so that others get a chance to participate in the tournament. You know that these guys are going to go to the final whichever tournament they're participating in.
In a way, as a counter argument to their justification, you could also say that there's no one's putting a gun to anyone's head saying, as soon as you know who the finalists are going to be, that you have to immediately schedule the final. Like once we know, okay, India and New Zealand are supposed to be the finalists, then let's just try to block a time in the near future where we can do a 3-match like a series.
Or also how, I mean, it's rather tiresome and pretty long logistics. But what they can also probably do is play 3 different test matches in 3 different venues.
Oh, that is crazy.
Like it spread it across. Just 1 test match this month between you both. So we need your commitment for 1 week in England. Then a month later, we are like, okay, I need both of your commitments in, say, South Africa. So 3 test matches. And the best of the 3, and all 3 in different venues. It's not just supporting one type of game, right? If you can even do that, even that is still fine, according to me.
But
I don't think that
is
would be a
like
problem.
You're proposing a way tougher alternative to just having
because it is the
series in one
toughest
place.
format of the game. So,
It is. I mean, if you were to go purely by merit and by principles, this is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Which is you'd go to different places.
Yeah.
And then you test these teams out.
On different conditions,
In
with
different
different
conditions.
teams and whatever.
Yeah.
So I think there are ways to solve the problem. And ICC, with all the experience of conducting and organizing so many world events or championship events, they should have done a much better job of it. If the whole effort was to promote Test cricket, they have done a bad job. It's an anticlimax.
It is an anticlimax,
Right.
for sure.
So you didn't really make waves.
Well, how much did the pandemic have to do with that is the only thing that I'm wondering. So I just feel that the next time that they have to do this is where they can really be judged.
The reason why I say pandemic is not a smart answer, right? You're conducting IPL for 2.5 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're creating bio bubbles,
Mm-hmm.
and it is being done by BCCI,
Mm-hmm.
which is one single board. How difficult is it for you as an ICC to create a bio bubble for 2 teams? It's not even like 10 teams. So don't give me the reason that you're short of logistics, you don't have hotel rooms or whatever, that you couldn't plan ahead. This was 2 years ahead, right? This was pre-pandemic times where you were coming into this. So I don't find it like very convincing from ICC. The fact that they came very abruptly to it because they wanted to hide all the other aspects that, oh fuck, we didn't, like somebody in the room was like, oh, by the way, we didn't consider the weather, guys. Like it rains a lot here in summer. So, and it's a test match. So it's not like we should not just be lucky on one evening. We should be lucky on like 5 days. Right. Which is a long shot in England. And that too in like a secondary ground. It was not even one of the prime grounds. It's not Oval or Lords or any. Some Southampton. I don't even know how many games were played there. Like it's not a mainstream ground per se, right?
Yeah.
So the infra of that ground, how good it is, all that comes into the picture, right? So that way, I think they missed a huge beat. That too in England, the first thing you consider is, guys, let's see how much rain is there in the next 2 weeks. And they didn't see that, I guess.
But then there's also the other aspect of the schedules or calendars of other teams. Like I don't know how far in advance are all those booked. Like this time of the year, West Indies is going to play Pakistan, for example. So these two teams are locked down.
Yeah.
Then Australia is going over to South Africa or something.
Yeah.
So these get decided like way before.
Yeah. I think over a year and a half, at least 12 to 18 months.
So
before.
isn't that what makes it tough? When
How? WTC final was decided 2 years back, right?
No,
Like the finalists were not decided,
Yeah.
but this is the date of final, right? And it's like one test match. That's a week.
right.
So put practice, travel, everything together. It's 2 weeks,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So 2 years ahead that these 2 weeks let's not schedule anything.
Mm.
Whether you win, come to that final and all, that's all secondary.
Mm.
But you can still block 2 weeks. It's not a huge deal. Say if they would have said like block like one, like it's a three test series for the finals. So it's going to be a month long.
Mm.
Still 18 months before for you to kind of cushion 1 month is still not a big challenge. You might not be able to participate in another event, but if it is like just to fix like India tour South Africa or West Indies tour Pakistan, just for two teams to come together and fix that finance, it's not a huge deal. That's what I feel.
Also, what was the reason for the last minute change from Lords? I never knew like why they shifted it.
Literally,
It was
no
always
idea.
going to be Lords.
Maybe London was a hot spot, or like I don't know. I don't know.
And I don't think it rained, right, in those days in Lords.
I don't know that too.
I think someone
Like,
mentioned that also. That it did
you
not.
idiots! It's not raining there.
Yeah.
Like you bastard. No, I think. Okay, the other point that the weather thing is in England. I think they should not put anything in England.
Mm.
Like at least major with global warming and everything. Don't push major series in England. Simple. The other thing is, should it have been a single test finals or like a 3 test final?
It's never going to be fair. Like a 2-year long contest, you're trying to decide. When all of those series are decided in best of 3s or best of 5s, how can you have like a one-off test match final and you say that this decides who the best? Because objectively speaking, I still think India is, looking at the performance, India is number one. Like the best test team in the last 2 years in WTC. There's no doubt, especially because of all the touring they did and the huge victories.
Yeah, the bio bubbles they stayed in.
Bio bubbles, the Border Gavaskar Trophy, going there and winning that, then winning against England.
Yeah.
When they actually won the first one, which kind of threw a spanner in our.
So was a case and that's another thing I wanted to highlight. India seemed to have a pattern with every series. They lose the first match and then they win the rest.
Yeah.
Australia, the same thing happened.
Yeah.
England, the same thing happened.
Mm.
Oh, I'm not considering, West Indies and Bangladesh and all. New Zealand, we lost.
Mm.
Right? New Zealand has always been that stone in the shoe kind of a scene. Right?
Yeah.
South Africa, we like demolished them like ridiculously. So if it was a 3 test series, maybe we would have come back.
I'm sure.
Because I don't know, maybe we would have become smarter with our selection. Maybe
Selection
would
would
have
have changed for sure.
Let's drop Ashwin, let's bring Siraj.
Oh no, I think they would have dropped Jadeja probably after the first match.
Whichever, like I hate Ashwin, so I'm putting Ashwin's name. But no, I'm saying like they would have come back and come up with a stronger like this thing. Maybe they would have dropped somebody and bought Mayank Agarwal just to get that firepower down in the middle order, right? Or something like that. Because that's what happened in England. That's what happened in Australia. Australia thought it was almost by force. But England, they bought Akshar Patel and then suddenly things like, whoa, what is this guy doing, right?
And if it were going to be a 3-match series for sure, they would have brought along Shardul as well.
Maybe, yeah. But Shardul was playing with...
just as an option. I mean, if it
playing
was
in the
3-match, right, they would have changed their plans is what I'm saying. Shardul...
I actually think Washington Sundar.
Yeah, only for his batting, they would have got him.
And also his bowling, he still is pretty good bowler. So if I would have replaced, say, Jadeja with Washington Sundar, right, and not bought the extra seamer, we don't know how that will work out. Because if you're playing in, say, Bristol or oval or someplace like that, there is a tendency of the ball turning.
But if you have a choice between Washington and Jadeja, in which scenario would you pick
Jadeja.
Washington?
Always.
Because Jadeja is like...
Only reason why I would pick Washington Sundar is I find Washington Sundar a better player of pace bowling than Jadeja. Jadeja is not that strong with pace bowling, especially on seaming wickets. I mean, he does grind it out, no doubt about it. But I feel he's a little technically, is more of a bottom hand player. And you're not a great, generally, you can't deal with seam bowling with bottom when you're a bottom hand player. And Washington Sundar is like a conventional opener, so he has that good leave.
Yeah.
He's tall, he can deal the bouncer well. I mean, he's shown it, right? And Jadeja has a huge weakness with bounces. He can't deal bounces well. Especially how he got out in the second innings, right? Wagner kept bouncing him. I keep thinking of Anderson. Who's that? Southey. Southey kept bouncing him, over the wicket. Yeah. And finally, that's how he got out.
And Stark did the same thing in Border Gavaskar.
Yeah.
And Jadeja had no answer because it was
that
coming
angle.
across an awkward diagonal angle.
And the same thing he did, Cummins did it to Sundar. And he got thumped over square leg because of the height factor, right? Yeah. Washington is way taller. Yeah. And also I think he has a much better sense of bouncy delivery, bounce balls. So that would be the only reason why I would probably go with Washington Sundar on in a condition like England, because he has that good front foot, he has a huge reach. He plays spin relatively well. He's not in spin. He's not as good as Jadeja. Jadeja deals spin much better. He has a much more aggressive approach. But that's like an untapped, quality of Washington Sundar. You didn't see him play. You didn't see him play spin bowlers that much.
Yeah, and it reminds me actually of when the whole thing about going with our tenured players as opposed to some of the newer candidates. It took me back to a moment just after Gabba in Border Gavaskar, where Ashwin was being asked whether he was looking forward to the World Test Championship final and how much that means to him. And he made a comment about how much it meant, especially to players like him and Pujara and the others who will only mostly figure in a test squad.
Yeah.
So when it comes to an ICC World Cup, etc., they can't hope of probably being in the squad and maybe experiencing that.
Yeah.
So it's in a test thing where it guarantees their presence almost.
Right.
So they're really looking forward to it because for them it means that much.
Yeah, which is a fair point.
It's a fair point. And
from his perspective.
From his perspective, absolutely fair.
Yeah.
And that made me think that, this is the way he expressed it. And he has a tendency to express things with some amount of
salt.
I was not going to say salt.
Sand.
I was going to say conviction. Yeah.
Yeah.
He does have that. He does have the communication style of kind of
authoritative.
Putting a stamp at this point. So the way he said it felt like, okay, this may be the prevailing sentiment in the and I won't blame the team management also to think along those lines. It's not fair. When we have world-class players and they don't have a hope of maybe figuring in the one-day formats. This is a world test, this is their format and it's the first time inaugural. And that's the reason why I think there was that insistence that even 2 days before the toss happened, they just went out and declared, this is the squad, this is it.
Yeah, I think it's a fair point what I should put. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's in a team sport, you can't have such a subjective, standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? Okay, fine, we took Pujara. Great. We took Ashwin. Great. What was their contribution? So what matters ultimately in a team sport is what is the condition that we are playing in? Who are the opposition that we are playing against? Who is in a good touch? Right? Pujara has been suffering for quite a while, right? After the Australian series, even in the whole Australia, except for that innings, if you look back, he did not get that big hundreds, right? It's been quite a while since he got big hundreds, including Virat Kohli, right? So you need to take these things into consideration. You miss out. Come on, the team needs to win. It can't accommodate sentiments.
It seemed to me like at the end of it, if you had to draw a line and say what really made the difference, for me it seemed to be Jameson and Kenana. But what did you think? Like, what actually made the difference between the two teams?
In terms of, I mean,
How it played out.
There were strategic flaws, obviously, from our end. I think the toss played the biggest factor.
Right.
In any, with that kind of rain, with those kind of overseas, look at how the pitch played in the first 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
It was great batting display by Indian team, by the way. Their 217 was almost as equal to what New Zealand scored. That 250,
240 something,
240 change, right?
Yeah.
It's the same score. So I don't see a huge difference in the score. On the contrary, I thought New Zealand didn't perform well in the first innings. They should have gotten a lot more runs.
But it was in the second innings where we really fell short, right?
Second innings was our mistake. Second innings, I think it was good bowling, right? But it was not drastically different bowling. It was almost the same kind of bowling that they did in the first innings. It was no huge change. It was whatever changes they made were obvious because in the first innings, even though they were bowling short of length, the ball was still doing a lot or decently a lot. But in the second innings, they had to bowl full so that the ball can do something. So this should have been anticipated that, okay, this is what is happening. We saw it what happened when we were bowling. So they are going to go fuller to us, right? And that's going to be their apple card. The mistake that I thought was purely like technical mistake. Not many players went really forward. They should have covered the length and then left the ball. If it's too short, leave the ball, but at least go forward, which is what I think they didn't do. And you obviously see Jameson was fucking amazing, dude. Like for his age, his experience, and the composure with which he played the whole test, and even the 22 runs innings that he played was extremely vital.
Yeah.
It's almost like that innings that, almost like the Ajinkya Rahane innings in Goa. He comes, plays that quick fire 27, shows the intent. Till that time, if you see, everybody was like trying to dry out the balls and all. Jameson comes, whacks a 6, plays 2 shots, misses whatever. And then everybody, like, you see what happens next. Williamson started playing his shots. So I think that is very important. That short innings that Jameson played was very, very important.
Yeah, Southee too. Like
Southee,
after Jameson, he also added.
Southee has the 3rd highest 6 hitter in New Zealand's history. So,
yeah.
But yeah, coming to the point as to where it was, where the huge difference was, I think we missed out on the second innings. Our approach as batting in second innings was not that great. Again, Pant. Everybody should have played like Pant. They should have just gone for their shots, come forward. You got beaten. The ball was doing a little anyhow. So you should have gone a little for the shots. And if you would have gotten at least another 100 runs, give or take, I think we were short of 100 runs, 70 to 100 runs. If we would have gotten 70 to 100 runs, it would have been very difficult for them to win.
And also it felt like, we went with 3 pacers to begin with. And out of that, unfortunately, Bumrah was having an off day. And that also, played a lot into, because if he was like the usual Bumrah performance, with that pitch, with what the ball was doing, he could have created a lot of problems.
Bumrah was a disappointment. Yes.
Like off day, yeah. Like
it's I get off day. It was off 5 days. Every day he bowled, he didn't look threatening at all. I mean, with Bumrah, you expect he'll bowl one erratic delivery, which is he was trying to bowl some cutter or something, so the ball goes here and there. Fair enough. In general, Bumrah was not hitting his mark. Generally, he's a very good length and full length bowler. So I anticipated he would make the best of the situation. But for some reason, he was bowling
always
short.
Back. Yeah.
Bowling so short, and I was failing to understand why. That is Shami. Shami does that well. He bowls at good length or short of good length, and he lets the ball race because he has that bounce. Same thing is with Ishant Sharma, right? He delivers it from certain height, so he lands it like short of length, and then he lets the ball do the talking. Bumrah was the only guy who actually thought that will do the best in that conditions because in general he's that full length bowler. He's not like that short pitch or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Bumrah just didn't hit his mark at all.
Yeah, and we were all coming like cold into it. Like these guys played 2 matches already, and there was that factor also. Like India was coming into it at a disadvantage. But then, even then, all of this put together, ultimately, I felt like it's like best of the both worlds happened, which is having first of all just one match to decide the final.
Yeah.
It didn't really make sense, but in that way, New Zealand got to it, and it feels great that they closed that formality, and now they have an ICC cup for themselves, which they've been trying for many years.
Since they
who knows how many kids, how many new people that attracted within New Zealand towards cricket, because they always compete with rugby.
Yeah. Who knows? Like Shane Bond will come out of retirement and come back to the team.
Yeah. So overall, it can only be a good thing for like world cricket that we have one more country like New Zealand. If it gets them some mileage out of this, that's great. Because if you objectively were to judge which team really was the best in WTC, I don't think there's any argument that it was India. Like if you look at the performance overall.
Like with New Zealand, which is what is, I think, a great point to their side.
Mm-hmm.
They don't look threatening.
Yeah.
They never look threatening. They're like, oh yeah, they have a Williamson. Oh yeah, Ross Taylor, but he's old.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how much can he play? And then you're like, oh, Watling is leaving. Or they don't have openers. Like Conway just came. It's a matter of time we'll figure out. So you look at like New Zealand team, barring like a Trent Bolt and a Tim Southee. Now Jameson. But before that, you are like, who are there? Who's the star player beyond Williamson? Like Brendan McCullum was there. Okay. Like you would genuinely feel scared of Brendan McCullum. You're like, oh dude, this guy can like take the match away. You never know. He was like Dhoni of New Zealand, right? Like he would just single-handedly win matches. But after that, like before him and after him, you don't have those swashbuckling players out of New Zealand. But what New Zealand does have, they play as a unit unbelievably well.
And they also have that aspect of Wagner, right? Which is, no matter how the match is going, this guy is always going to be giving it his 100% every ball. And he's always going to be.
The thing is, I think Wagner comes across, it's like the Wade, concept.
Yeah.
Matthew Wade might not have performed. Like, how much did Wagner contribute to the win in this match, in the finals? I don't think much.
No, he did.
Like, from my side, it's like, okay, he did what was expected out of him. He was not off the mark, or he like took everybody by surprise. He didn't get that unbelievable wicket, right? He got 1 wicket of Ajinkya Rahane, which was basically Ajinkya Rahane's mistake.
No, there was this 1 wicket, right, which he went wide off the crease all of a sudden. Jadeja he set up? Yeah, he did it very well actually.
No, like Wagner is supposed to take the Steve Smiths, the Virat Kohlis. You bring Wagner to take those wickets. It's like Bumrah is supposed to take the best wicket. He is supposed to pick up Kane Williamson. Bumrah is supposed to pick up Conway, right? That's the kind of attitude you have. So anything below that, Wagner didn't do a great job. Like he took a Jadeja, he picked up like a Ishant Sharma or whosoever. Fine. I didn't see Wagner troubling a Pujara. He was bouncing him a lot, yes, but Pujara wasn't troubled. Pujara wasn't like faced. Wagner didn't trouble Virat Kohli. Wagner didn't trouble Ajinkya Rahane. He did get Rahane, but he didn't trouble him. Like how Jameson troubled Virat Kohli, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like Wagner is a swashbuckling player. He's like the Wade guy, right? Like he comes, he puts in a lot of heart, no doubt about it. But you see the rest of the guys, they are doing the same or probably more, but you just don't see them. Like Southee, dude. Every time Team Southee comes in, like he's still playing. Like that's the kind of thing that comes to my head. Like, how come Southee is still playing? I don't see him playing. I don't remember him playing. So they're so quiet about their job.
Yeah.
Which is why when you look at New Zealand, you're like, it's New Zealand. Even for the matter of fact, you look at South Africa, right? There's one player who comes out, the whole team looks different. You're like, dude, this guy have like a Rabada. Like, how will he deal with him? Right? But that's not the case with New Zealand, which is why I think they were always overshadowed by the star teams, right? They were always not really considered a threat. And it's kudos to them that in the recent past, probably the last 5 or 6 years, they grew as a very commendable, competitive team, right? And very aggressive team.
Yeah.
They're also pretty ruthless about their strategies. I'll tell you, one of the things that really caught my eye was Shami was going for his shots in the second innings. So he just swings his bat and edges.
Got like 3-4 boundaries.
Yeah, like the ball flies over the slip cordon.
Yeah.
The next ball, there's one guy in this awkward position who's like a deep second slip or something.
Yeah.
The next ball goes to him.
Yeah.
Right? It shows that is the kind of things that this is how they know they've done the homework or they know what is going on.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of teams do that. Even Australia missed so many they've missed so many strategic moves, right? So New Zealand, big kudos, and I'm a big fan of New Zealand since Stephen Fleming, by the way. I used to like a lot of players of New Zealand. Nathan Astle was one. Chris Harris was another.
They're all very likable. Like you said, unassuming, they come, they do their job. And it's hard not to like them. And having said all of this, like going into the WTC final, like almost everyone picked New Zealand as their favorite. Almost everyone was saying New Zealand is ahead, for sure.
Yeah.
When the match started, New Zealand was always ahead.
Yeah.
And when the match ended, New Zealand went away.
New Zealanders are like the good middle benchers.
Right.
They're not too ahead where they're trying to like lick asses of everybody to be known as a good team. Or neither are the two back where there's a rowdy in a way. They're just this calm middle benchers who have fun, like, all around. So they deserve it, dude. Like, I mean, I have zero qualms about New Zealand winning this final.
Yeah, it was
I'm
great.
really happy for them.
Yeah, it was great, actually.
They play amazing cricket. They play some quality cricket.
I think this was the best result possible. Where New Zealand also won.
Yeah.
They took away the cup. But then...
The mace.
The lollipop.
The ugly lollipop.
But then again, if you objectively judge like which team was the best, I don't think any practical person can say India was not the best. It's all there. The proof is in the pudding. Yes, the final we did not win. So always, yes, we are not the winners. But who performed the best? Yeah.
Across WTC?
Yeah.
I would still give a 50-50 to New Zealand because, see, New Zealand almost defeated everybody. Okay? More consistent than India. More clinical than India.
But at home, right?
No, across. They went one against Australia in Australia. They went, I think they drew a series in England or someplace. They defeated India at home at New Zealand. Again, but I think they were more clinical in their victories and more consistent. India, yes, I think India had a much more eventful WTC than any other team.
Yeah.
The whole Australian series, the whole England series, and the South Africa series were.
And, tinkering with the way the ratings were, like midway through the tournament, they changed the rules.
Yeah. I think, the thing that probably would have happened is somebody tried hard India not to come to the final.
Yeah.
I think that was definitely
looked like it.
Yeah, it looked like that. But if you ask me like who was a better team across WTC, I would give a 50-50 to both New Zealand and India.
Okay. In my book, I think India would inch ahead.
No, it's okay. It's subjective opinion.
Yeah, it is subjective.
Ravichandran and Ashwin.
Like I said,
I deserve to play WTC final. Like,
I mean, he
people
does.
like me and Pujara. Come on.
Can't argue against that point that he made,
Like I said, I'll argue against that point from a team perspective.
Yeah, that I agree.
Because it's not, if he was like a representative of Indian tennis team and he was like, oh, I'm not allowed to play Olympics because though I performed so well, I would buy the point. Right?
For me, if it's coming from a team captain, that kind of a statement, then for me it's a problem because as the team captain, your priority should be the team and which bunch of players are going to make you win the whole thing.
Yeah.
If it's a player expressing their own sentiment, for that it's perfectly fair.
It's fine. Yeah. I'm not saying, like I said, from his perspective, you're right.
Yeah.
This might be your only
and
chance
it's
of
not a
playing
problem
ICC.
Because, he's not deciding anyway. Obviously if they would have said, Ashwin, tough luck, you got to sit back. He's just going to shut up and sit back.
He doesn't have an option. You're talking as if like he'll come up with like rowdies and say like, no,
that's what I'm saying.
I mean, like I said, see, though that point is fair, it doesn't have a place in the overall scheme.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That's what I'm saying.
But I just felt that, did that play a role or did that play that sentiment that was there?
Not necessarily. Who else is a better number 3 in test than Pujara? Nobody. Who else is a better off spinner than anybody else? We don't have a better off spinner in test who's as good as Ashwin.
Yeah, so I think this point was specifically about Ashwin, Pujara,
Ajinkya
Rahane and Jadeja probably.
Come on, Jadeja will play any team.
Jadeja will play one days also.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So Jadeja will play. Oh, yeah.
What are you talking, dude?
Exactly. Exactly. So it's not Jadeja.
It's mostly about Rahane,
Pujara
and himself.
And himself, yeah.
And probably Ishant Sharma. Ishant Sharma might not play another World Cup,
sure.
but I think he knows that.
Yeah.
But having said that, I still think you should have taken a different composition. Team, like if you ask me a team composition, I would have used Siraj definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean the team selection is a point which is never going to die down. As much as Ravi Shastri or Kohli, put out their statements about how or what went into team selection, that's never going to die down. That point.
Yeah.
But the competition between the two teams, they still made it exciting to watch.
With what they got.
Yep,
on the
and
field.
the low scoring, how no one was giving an inch.
Yeah.
And it was so great to see. Like they made it worth it.
Which is why I say two towering teams in the test as of now. And they deserve to be in finals, both the teams.
Great Cricketers, the podcast, they like to joke about how these guys are so good, you can't trust them. I'm sure they have skeletons in their closet. Each one of them has some dark secret, that they're hiding. And they're just covering it up with this demeanor of good behavior. So from an Australian lens, they're not able to trust it.
Yeah, they just can't buy the fact
they
that...
They can't buy. And it's so funny because when you look at these two teams, like neighbors... always have had the dynamic of Australia not bothering too much about the Kiwis.
Like uncared sibling of
the
like
family. And the way this team has had this goal for a while and the way they came about in executing and achieving it now, so many things have to work in tandem or in
clockwork.
Like in sync with each other, like from team selection to the captain, all of this, the coach, and we never heard about the New Zealand coach.
Yeah.
And how come they've done it so well? And then you just look at their neighbors where even now they're still talking about, Langer, like I think there was a clip, Shane Warne, I think, was talking about Langer could be in trouble or something like that, and how it is so... like so different.
It's the same in India, even today, like when the final was over and I was reading few of the articles. Do you think Ravi Shastri should review his position in the Indian cricket team? Do you think Virat Kohli...
For what?
Because of the loss.
Because of the one final?
Yeah, the final loss.
Seriously?
And I'm like, this is our problem.
Yeah, this is public overreaction.
The sample set that we
typical.
Consider is so small.
Yeah. Whereas the way that these guys did it, the Kiwis, you don't even know their coach's... Like, I don't know their coach's name. But...
Shit, even I don't know. I know he's bald though.
Like, I've just seen him on this thing and I've not even heard him talk much.
Yeah.
And
that's what great coaches do. Great coaches don't talk. Have you ever heard John Wright talking? Do you remember him coming out and giving interviews? Like in press conferences and all.
Great coaches may not talk, bro, but what about elite coaches?
Elite coaches, they are elite.
Elite coaches are different.
They're elitist.
Yeah.
Okay. They are above the human race.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's not go there. But good coaches, in general, they are behind. They know their job. In a game like cricket, they know their job. And this is something that Ganguly heavily prophesized. Coach in cricket is not the same as coach in football.
Yeah.
So
that's manager.
It's just manager. Like that guy's job is not to come and teach how to kick a ball. Like that guy is supposed to give strategy, groom the new players who come into the international team, get them ready for the international stage. You see all the successful teams and look at the coaches in their successful period. They never come in the front. They always dude, you're the captain. You go do your job.
Yeah.
So as long as Justin Langer is Australian coach, I don't think there's a bright future for Australian cricket.
It's an elite future.
If there's an elite future, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Today is an excellent day.
Yes.
Guys, go take a rest. You did great net session. Go take a rest. Take it easy.
Boys, that was a hell of a show. Well done.
Well done. Mm-hmm. I'm going to meet my wife finally.
Yeah.
I'm going to cry to her. Such a crybaby, dude. Justin Langer. I think we should do one dedicated to Justin Langer.
Oh yeah, it's like when the match goes well, it's just come in and
Yeah.
let's not talk about the match. You guys did fantastic. Let's just disperse. Let's just get the fuck out of here. When something goes wrong, it's like PowerPoint presentation, 3 hours. Sit inside. Nathan Lyon, watch this run out. Watch this run out.
I can. He's holding Lion's collar and like dragging you like, so how you missed the ball, bro? So how you missed the ball? That's not what international cricketers do.
That's not elite.
That's not elite.
Oh god.
But yeah.
And the test is
I'm
such a
happy
gift.
New Zealand is not an elite team.
Yeah, it's not an elite team, yeah. It's quite the opposite.
Yeah. I mean, I've never seen, the funniest thing is, I've never seen a losing team give a longer speech than a winning team in the Australian series. Langer spoke for like half an hour. And Rahane was like, yeah, it was a good game. We want to bid farewell, like congratulate Lion for his 400 wickets and all.
Take this t-shirt.
And Langer is like, you got 1 billion people. You got to have a good 12-member team.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, correct.
Yeah, by that logic, we should have the world's best carpenters, plumbers. Like, why we have 1 billion people? You gotta have the best carpenters, bro.
You gotta have at least 12 best carpenters.
Yeah. We should have had the best of everything just by statistics. The one thing I hate is now other people have picked up on this 1 billion
Nonsense,
people.
yeah.
Oh God, some English people are repeating it. Then some other.
But do you remember? It was the same context was used in the wrong way about like 15 years back or 20 years back, right? Like, I don't know if you remember. Every time an Olympic happens, like an American guy or someone like, I can't understand how a country of 1 billion people can't produce one quality sprinter.
Yeah.
Like on those contexts. Like
Right.
How can a country of 1 billion people can't produce like one good, I don't know, shot put thrower or javelin thrower or I don't know.
Hey, welcome to democracy. There's
Like
democracy in action, bro.
Next time somebody says this statement, like throw them with this. Like check our Olympic medals, bastards. Like we don't have enough people in Olympics.
Yeah.
We just have a lot of people in cricket. Yes, we agree, but not in like other sports like tennis. Come on.
We have a lot of people in the government, and that's usually what is blocking. Maybe we should let these guys play.
I still can't get over that PowerPoint presentation.
Oh God, that was crazy.
There was this other guy, I know I'm digressing, in that, I don't know what you call documentary.
The test. Yeah,
documentary. There's this one guy who supposedly is a bowling coach or a fitness coach or something.
Yeah.
What you doing, mate?
Yeah.
What you doing?
Yeah.
There's a fucking cricket test match, mate. You gotta show anger. You gotta show...
Batting coach.
I don't know who it was.
Yeah.
I almost felt like, who are you, dude?
Yeah,
Who
exactly.
the fuck are you? Like, who are you talking to? It was so random, man. Like, I saw, the funny thing is, do you know Ian, Brad Haddon was there, I guess. He was always silent. He was like,
Yeah.
He was making his small notes or whatever.
Yeah.
When I realized Brad Haddon was there in the coaching team of that team, when he was coaching SRH, so he's in the coaching panel, and like I saw this face somewhere. Then it struck me like, dude, this guy,
Yeah.
this guy was even there then, with the Australian coaching team. I was like, wow. But I feel bad for like couple of cricket teams, like South Africa and West Indies. Great cricketing teams, they just went horribly wrong in the last few years.
You can add
West
Zimbabwe
Indies-
also, right, to that list. I mean,
No, but like Zimbabwe was never as threatening as a West Indian team or a South African team, right?
okay.
In that sense, I'm saying. I mean, the fall is way much more.
I
in West
thought
Indies.
you were trying to like talk about external factors, fucking up the game or the potential of the team. Like even there was a problem with Sri Lankan board with
Yeah.
the players, and
I think
that's
it's still there.
It is still there.
I think it's still there.
Yeah.
Pakistan is again the same, right?
Pakistan is always there.
Like, yeah, Pakistan, like,
Like, I want to mention.
I feel so bad for Pakistan, dude. Like, a guy like Amir retires at 28, 29. You're like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys, dude? Like, but whatever. What I was trying to say is the fall of teams like West Indies, from 20 years to what it has come to now. Like they're not considered as a competitive team
Yeah.
at the test level, right? You look at playing. I mean, there was a pride in going to West Indies and playing their test match, scoring 100 there and all.
Absolutely, yeah.
Same thing is with South Africa. You go to South Africa, go to like Wanderers or Johannesburg and all these places. You are like, dude, like it's a huge thing.
There was pride in West Indies players. I mean, other people from other countries were proud of West Indian players.
Like I love Carl Hooper.
That's it. Like
I love Jimmy Adams.
Yeah, there's so many people whose entire life was King Viv.
Yeah.
Like everything King Viv. And you can't blame them.
And that flavor of cricket is missing now, right?
Something
which
else.
Which I think is what ICC should be more focusing on. Like how do you grow these countries back? Like how do you facilitate so that the game survives? So that the game is not between 4 teams.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know if you remember 96 World Cup.
I do.
96 World Cup, there were quite a lot of potentially strong teams. It is not like the World Cup that we have today. Like there's a South Africa, Australia, England, India. That's it.
Yeah.
Right? West Indian team was good. Like you had Courtney Walsh and like Curtly Ambrose, and you had guys like Lara, Carl Hooper and all.
Yep.
Then there was a Sri Lankan team which was, I mean, at that point it was underdogs, but they were playing like ridiculously well.
Yeah.
South Africa had like Alan Donald and like God knows like long list of players. So if you see in general, the top 6 teams or top 7 teams are all like potentially World Cup winners. It was not like 3-4 teams. Like IPL, right? Like in IPL you always see, okay, RCB will not win, Delhi Daredevils will not win, but they'll all give you a fight. They might fuck up your chances of winning IPL. They have that potential. And that used to be the case in international cricket. Now that's not the case, which is a sad thing according to me. That, I mean, you see a team like Afghanistan coming up the ranks, trying like producing internationally strong players, but that's bits and pieces. So ICC should like go in and give their, expertise and say that, hey dude, we will teach you how to play international cricket. We will teach you how to approach that stage, because the game you play at Ranji level or domestic level, and then you take that jump to international level, there is almost no grooming. Like today IPL is there, so Indian players are being groomed to international cricket.
Yeah.
But there's no grooming, right? There's no exposure of how do you deal with a particular team, a particular condition. And that's what is missing today. There's so many things that ICC can do rather than fucking up like inaugural test WTC finals and all.
Yeah. And we come full circle with that. Brute, final words, final thoughts on the WTC final.
Bad management, deserving winner.
And the upcoming...
bad, what do you call organization?
Right. And the upcoming India-England series.
Not going to be very exciting. It's going to be what it is. It is what it is.
I hope to see some records being broken.
I want Virat Kohli. Yeah, I was about to say that. I want Virat Kohli to be back.
I want a Rahane century as well.
Oh, that way I have a long list. Like I want a Pujara's Big Daddy 100. I want a Virat Kohli's, quick fire 2-300s. I want a Rishabh Pant's 100 in England. He has a good record in England, by the way. I want a Siraj's fifer in Lords if he can.
I want Ishan to have a lot of fun because who knows when he'll come back.
Yeah.
So, looking forward to that. All right. And with that, we conclude our episode on the WTC final. Yeah. Thanks everyone for listening.
Clap.
What did you guys think? Did you enjoy it? Do you usually enjoy it? I don't know, the talk on cricket and stuff. Let us know on mindthygap@gmail.com. That's where you can reach us. And of course, at the end of the episode, you'll also have mentions of our other socials, so you can follow us on there as well.
Yes.
So until next week.
And just don't listen. Take action.
Yes.
Make a movement. Like, do something.
Yeah. Don't be just an ordinary person. Be elite. Yeah.
We will throw a PowerPoint presentation soon on our socials about how you can be elite.
Exactly. On how many people are listening, but they're not following.
Yeah. They're not absorbing.
Yeah. We need to make a PowerPoint on that.
Yeah.
For an audio podcast. All right, bro. As always, before we sign off, what do we say?
ThyGap. Subscribe.
And share.
And share.
Be elite. Hey, thanks for listening. You can follow this podcast on Spotify to get notified of new episodes every Thursday. We're also on Apple Podcasts for those of you who have partaken in the forbidden fruit. If you liked what you heard, leave us a 5-star rating and a comment. Say anything like the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. A rating and a comment really helps us out. It's free, and I'm told that's a great price. But enough about us, huh? Tell us about yourself. Leave us a comment. Our Twitter is @ThyGap and we are _ThyGap on Instagram.